My wicked stepmother sent me hawking every day, not knowing I was building an empire that would shake the entire village. The sun had not even opened its eyes when Mama Uche's voice tore through the small room like a knife. Chioma, get up now. If I come inside there, you will see fire today. Chioma jumped from her thin mat on the floor. Her body ached from carrying heavy trays the day before. Her stomach growled with hunger because Mama Uche had refused to give her dinner last night. She was only 14 years old, but her life felt like that of an old woman who had suffered for 100 years. She stumbled into the kitchen where Mama Uche stood, with her arms folded across her chest like a soldier ready for war. Her eyes were sharp and cold. On the table sat 3 heavy trays filled with groundnuts, bananas, and small bags of pure water. Chioma's heart sank. She knew what was coming. Carry all of these and don't come back until you sell everything. Every single kobo must be complete. Do you hear me? Yes, ma, Chioma whispered, her voice barely alive. Mama Uche sucked her teeth in disgust. Useless girl. If your mother had sense, she would have stayed alive instead of leaving you here to disturb my life. The word stabbed Chioma's heart like hot needles, but she swallowed the pain. She had learnt long ago that crying only made Mama Uche angrier. In the next room, she could hear the voices of Mama Uche's children, Uche and Nkechi, laughing as they prepared for school. Their school bags were new, their uniforms were clean and ironed. Their lunch boxes were filled with rice and chicken. Chioma remembered when she used to go to school too, when her mother was still alive. Those days felt like a dream now, so far away she could barely touch them. Her mother had been everything, warm like sunshine, gentle like the evening breeze, always singing while she cooked. But then sickness came, long and painful, and took her mother away, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. Chioma's father, Papa Uche, was a truck driver. He carried goods from Lagos to Kano, from Port Harcourt to Abuja. He was always on the road, always away. When Mama died, he cried for many days. Then his relatives came, speaking in low voices, telling him a man cannot raise a girl child alone. You need a woman in the house. Think of the child. She needs a mother. That was how Mama Uche entered their lives. At first, she smiled. She cooked Papa's favorite meals. She plaited Chioma's hair. She called her my daughter, and everybody said Papa Uche was a lucky man. But the day Papa left for his first long trip after the wedding, everything changed. Mama Uche's smile disappeared like smoke. Her voice became hard. Her eyes became stone. She threw away Chioma's school uniform and said, "There is no money for school fees. You will help me in the shop." But there was no shop work. Only hawking under the hot sun from morning till night, while Mama Uche sat in front of the house fanning herself and gossiping with neighbors. When Chioma returned home with money, Mama Uche would count it with angry eyes. "Is this all? You must have eaten some of the groundnuts. You must have drunk some of the water. No food for you tonight. Go and sleep outside." Sometimes, Chioma slept on the veranda. Sometimes, she cried quietly where no one could hear. Sometimes, she looked at the sky and asked her mother, "Mama, where are you? Why did you leave me here?" Now, as she lifted the heavy trays onto her head, Chioma's neck screamed with pain. She was thin, too thin, because Mama Uche barely fed her. Her dress was torn at the side and faded from too much washing. Her slippers were held together with rubber bands because the straps had broken. As she walked out of the compound, she saw Uche, her stepbrother, watching her from the window. His face looked sad. Sometimes he would sneak her a piece of bread when Mama Uche was not looking. Sometimes he would whisper, "Sorry," but he was too afraid of his mother to do more. Nkechi, on the other hand, was exactly like Mama Uche. She would laugh and say, "Bush girl, you will hawk forever while I become a doctor." Chioma walked the dusty streets of Umunze village as the sun began to climb higher and higher. "Pure water, cold pure water," she called out in a tired voice. "Groundnuts, fresh groundnuts." Some people bought. Most people ignored her. By midday, the sun was angry and hot. beating down on her head like a punishment. Sweat poured down her face. Her throat was dry. She wanted to drink one bag of pure water, but she knew Mama Uche would notice if even one was missing. So she swallowed her thirst and kept walking. Then she saw her, an old woman sitting under a big mango tree in front of a small house painted blue. The woman's face was kind, full of wrinkles that looked like stories. She wore a wrapper and a blouse, and her grey hair was packed neatly. She waved at Chioma. "My daughter, come here. Let me buy from you." Chioma rushed over, grateful for the shade, grateful for kindness. The woman bought 5 bags of pure water and 2 bags of groundnuts. As Chioma counted her change, the woman watched her carefully. "You are very fast with numbers," the woman said. Chioma looked up, surprised. Someone was noticing her. Someone was speaking to her like she mattered. "Thank you, ma," Chioma said quietly. The woman smiled. "What is your name?" "Chioma, ma." "And why are you not in school, Chioma?" Chioma's eyes filled with tears before she could stop them. She tried to blink them away, but they fell anyway. The woman reached out and touched her hand gently. "My name is Mama Ngozi. You can talk to me. I will not harm you." And so, standing under that mango tree, with the sun high above and the world moving around them, Chioma told her story. She told her about her mother's death, about Papa's long trips, about Mama Uche's wickedness, about the hawking, the hunger, the beatings, the way she was treated like a slave in her own father's house. Mama Ngozi listened without interrupting. When Chioma finished, the old woman's eyes were wet. She held both of Chioma's hands in hers. "My child, your light cannot be hidden forever. I see something special in you. Do you believe me?" Chioma wanted to believe, but hope was dangerous. Hope hurt when it was crushed. She nodded anyway because Mama Ngozi's voice was warm and her hands were soft, and for the first time in many years, someone looked at Chioma like she was worth something. Mama Ngozi said, "Come back here tomorrow. Same time. I have something important to tell you." Chioma's heart jumped. She did not know what the woman meant, but something inside her stirred. Something small and fragile, like a tiny flame in the darkness. She thanked Mama Ngozi and continued her hawking, but the rest of the day felt different, lighter somehow. That night, Mama Uche counted the money, and surprisingly, she did not insult Chioma. Maybe because the sales were good. Maybe because she was too busy watching a movie. Chioma ate the small portion of gari she was given and lay down on her mat. She thought about Mama Ngozi's words. "Your light cannot be hidden forever." She closed her eyes, and for the first time in many nights, she dreamed not of suffering, but of something else. Something that looked almost like hope. Days passed, and Chioma returned to Mama Ngozi's house every afternoon. Each time, the old woman bought something, and they would talk. Mama Ngozi asked about Chioma's life before her mother died. "Did you like school?" Chioma's face lit up. "Yes, ma. I loved it. I loved reading and mathematics. My teacher said I was very smart." Mama Ngozi nodded slowly. "I thought so." 1 week later, Mama Ngozi finally told Chioma her plan. "I run a small learning center behind my house. Children come there after school for extra lessons. But some children who cannot go to school also come in the morning. I teach them myself. Would you like to come?" Chioma's heart nearly jumped out of her chest. "School? Learning?" It sounded like a dream. "But ma, I have to hawk. If I don't sell, Mama Uche will beat me." Mama Ngozi smiled. "What if you come to me first in the morning, learn for 2 hours, then go and hawk? You can tell her you are going far to find customers." Chioma's mind raced. It was risky. If Mama Uche found out, the punishment would be terrible. But the hunger to learn, to read, to be something more than a hawker, that hunger was stronger than her fear. She looked at Mama Ngozi and said, "I will come." The next morning, Chioma woke up even earlier than usual. She prepared her trays quickly and quietly. When Mama Uche shouted her usual insults, Chioma just nodded and left. But instead of going to the main market, she went to Mama Ngozi's house. Behind the blue house was a small building with benches and a chalkboard. About 10 children sat inside, some younger than Chioma, some around her age. Mama Ngozi smiled when she saw her. "Welcome, Chioma. Sit down, let us begin." For 2 beautiful hours, Chioma's world changed. She held a pencil. She wrote on paper. She solved mathematics. She read stories. Her mind drank everything, like dry ground drinks water. Mama Ngozi watched her with wonder. "This child is brilliant," she thought. "Absolutely brilliant." When the lesson ended, Chioma thanked Mama Ngozi 100 times and rushed out to hug. Her heart was beating fast. Her smile was wide. Even though the sun was hot and the trays were heavy, she felt light. She was learning again. She was becoming herself again. This continued for weeks. Every morning, Chioma would learn at Mama Ngozi's center, then spend the rest of the day hawking. She made sure to sell enough so Mama Uche would not suspect anything. At night, when everyone was asleep, Chioma would take out the old notebooks Mama Ngozi had given her and practice writing by candlelight. She hid the books under her mat during the day. If Mama Uche ever found them, Chioma did not want to imagine what would happen. One day, a man visited Mama Ngozi's learning center. His name was Mr. Emeka, and he worked for an organization that helped poor children go to school. He walked around the class, watching the children learn. When he saw Chioma solving a difficult mathematics problem on the board, he stopped. "How old are you?" he asked. 14, sir." "And you have been out of school for how long?" 3 years, sir." Mr. Emeka shook his head in amazement. "But you are solving secondary school mathematics. Who taught you?" "Mama Ngozi, sir. And I teach myself at night." Mr. Emeka looked at Mama Ngozi. "This girl is exceptional. She should not be out of school." Mama Ngozi nodded. "I know. But her stepmother is wicked. She refuses to send her to school." Mr. Emeka thought for a moment. "My organization gives scholarships to brilliant children who cannot afford school. Full scholarship. Boarding school. Everything paid for. If this girl's father agrees, we can take her." Chioma's heart stopped. Boarding school, full scholarship, it sounded impossible. Too good to be true. "But sir, my father is always traveling and my stepmother will never agree, Mr. Emeka smiled. "We only need your father's signature, not your stepmother's. Do you think you can get it?" Chioma's mind spun. Papa would be home in 2 weeks. If she could speak to him alone, if she could tell him the truth, maybe, just maybe, he would sign. She looked at Mr. Emeka and said, "I will try, sir. I will try with everything in me." But trying was harder than Chioma thought because Mama Uche had eyes and ears everywhere. One evening, as Chioma returned from hawking, Mama Uche was standing at the gate with her arms folded. Her face was twisted with anger. "Where have you been going in the mornings?" Chioma's blood turned cold. "What do you mean, ma? Don't play with me," Mama Uche shouted. "People have seen you entering that woman's house. That's Mama Ngozi. What are you doing there? Are you going there to gossip about me? Are you going there to beg for food like a beggar?" "No, ma," Chioma stammered. "I just sell to her and rest small before continuing." "Liar," Mama Uche spat. She grabbed Chioma by the arm and dragged her inside. "You think you are smart, Abby? You think you can deceive me?" She pushed Chioma to the ground and began searching through her things. Chioma's heart pounded. The notebooks. If she finds the notebooks. Mama Uche's hand closed around the books hidden under the mat. She pulled them out and stared at them. Her face turned red with rage. "So this is what you have been doing? School? You want to go to school? In whose house?" She tore the notebooks into pieces, page by page, throwing them in Chioma's face. "You are a fool. A big fool. You will never be anything in this life. You hear me? Never. You are cursed, just like your useless mother." Chioma could not hold it anymore. Tears poured from her eyes like rain. Mama Uche was not finished. She pulled off her slipper and beat Chioma with it, again and again, until Chioma's arms were covered with red marks. Then Mama Uche dragged her outside and locked the door. "Sleep outside tonight. Let the mosquitoes deal with you." Chioma sat on the veranda, her body shaking with sobs. The night was cold and dark. She wrapped her arms around herself and cried until there were no more tears left. She thought about her mother. She thought about running away. She thought about giving up. Maybe Mama Uche was right. Maybe she was cursed. Maybe she would never be anything. But then she heard a soft sound. The door opened slightly and Uche, her stepbrother, slipped outside. He was holding a plate of rice covered with a cloth. "Sister Chioma," he whispered, "take this. Eat." Chioma looked up at him, surprised. "Uche, if your mother catches you, she will beat you too." He shook his head. "I don't care. What she is doing to you is wrong. Very wrong." He sat beside her and said something that changed everything. "Sister, I heard her talking to her friend. She has been collecting money from Papa. Every month, Papa sends money for your school fees, for your clothes, for your food. But she takes it all. She spends it on herself and on us. Papa does not know you are not in school." She has been lying to him. Chioma's mouth fell open. Papa had been sending money all this time. Her father had not abandoned her. He had been trying to take care of her. It was Mama Uche who had stolen everything. Anger rose inside Chioma, hot and fierce. Anger she had never felt before. Uche continued, "Papa is coming home next week. If you can talk to him alone, if you can tell him the truth, maybe he will help you. But you have to be careful. Mama does not know that I know. She must not suspect anything." Chioma nodded, her mind racing. 1 week. She had 1 week to prepare, 1 week to find courage, 1 week to change her life. "Thank you, Uche," she whispered. "Thank you for telling me." He touched her shoulder gently and went back inside. Chioma ate the rice slowly, each spoonful giving her strength. She looked up at the stars and made a promise to herself. "I will not give up. Mama, I will not give up. I will fight. I will rise, no matter what it takes." The week passed slowly, like a snail climbing a wall. Mama Uche watched Chioma like a hawk, so she could not go to Mama Ngozi's center. But she held on to hope. She held on to Uche's words. "Papa is coming. Papa will save me." Finally, the day arrived. Chioma heard the sound of Papa's truck pulling into the compound. Her heart leaped. She wanted to run to him, but Mama Uche was already there, smiling her fake smile, hugging him, taking his bag, asking about his journey. Papa looked tired, but happy to be home. Chioma waited. She had to be patient. That evening, after Mama Uche cooked Papa's favorite meal and after everyone had eaten, Chioma saw her chance. Papa was sitting outside, resting under the mango tree in their compound. Mama Uche had gone to the market. Uche and Nkechi were inside watching television. Chioma's hands shook as she walked toward her father. "Papa," she called softly. He looked up and smiled. "Chioma, my daughter, how are you? How is school?" The question broke her. Tears filled her eyes immediately. Papa's smile faded. "What is wrong? Chioma, talk to me." And so, with her voice shaking, with tears running down her face, Chioma told her father everything. She told him about Mama Uche stopping her from going to school, about the hawking, about the hunger and the beatings, about the money he had been sending that Mama Uche stole, about Mama Ngozi and the learning center, about the scholarship opportunity, about everything. Papa's face changed as she spoke. First confusion, then shock, then anger, so deep his hands began to shake. He stood up, his eyes red. "Chioma, is this true? Are you telling me the truth?" "Yes, Papa, I swear on Mama's grave, I am telling you the truth." Papa put his hand on his head and walked back and forth like a man who had just been struck by lightning. That woman, that wicked woman. I trusted her. I gave her everything. I thought my daughter was in school. I thought my daughter was being taken care of. How could she do this? How could she? He pulled Chioma close and hugged her tightly. My daughter, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I failed you. I should have checked. I should have known. Forgive me. Chioma cried into her father's chest. But this time her tears were different. They were tears of relief, of hope. Finally, finally, someone believed her. Someone was on her side. Papa pulled away and looked into her eyes. This scholarship, do you want it? Do you want to go to school? Yes, Papa, more than anything in the world. Then you will go. Bring me the papers. I will sign them tonight. Chioma ran to Mama Ngozi's house faster than she had ever run in her life. Mama Ngozi saw her coming and knew immediately that something had happened. Mr. Emeka had left the scholarship forms with Mama Ngozi just in case. She brought them out and gave them to Chioma. Go, my child. Go and claim your future. Chioma ran back home. Papa was waiting. He read through the papers carefully, asking questions, nodding. Then he took a pen and signed his name in bold letters. It is done, he said. My daughter will go to school. But they both knew the storm was coming. When Mama Uche returned from the market and found out, her rage was like thunder. You signed what? You want to send this useless girl to boarding school? With whose money? Papa's voice was cold and hard, a voice Chioma had never heard before. With my money, the money I have been sending that you stole. Do you think I am a fool? Mama Uche's eyes widened. Who told you such lies? This girl is a liar. She wants to destroy our home. Papa laughed bitterly. Destroy our home? You have already done that. I have been sending money for 3 years. Where is it? Where are Chioma's school reports? Where are her uniforms? Show me. Mama Uche could not speak. Her lies had run out of road. Papa continued. From today, things will change in this house. Chioma will go to that boarding school. When she is on holiday, she will not hawk. She will not suffer. And you, he pointed at Mama Uche, you will answer to me. Mama Uche's face twisted with hatred as she looked at Chioma. You, she hissed, you have destroyed my marriage, you witch, just like your mother. But Papa stepped between them. If you touch her again, if you insult her again, you will leave my house. I am warning you. 2 weeks later, early in the morning, Papa drove Chioma to the boarding school. It was 3 hours away in the city. The school was big and beautiful, with tall buildings and green fields. Girls in neat uniforms walked around with books. Chioma could not believe it. She was really here, really going to school again. Papa hugged her at the gate. Make me proud, my daughter. Make your mother proud. I will, Papa. I promise. As she walked into the school compound, carrying the small bag Papa had bought for her, Chioma felt something she had not felt in years. Joy. Pure, clean, simple joy. The school was everything she had dreamed of and more. Classes every day. Libraries full of books. Teachers who cared. For the first 3 months, Chioma studied like her life depended on it. Because it did. Every math problem she solved was a victory over Mama Uche's words. Every test she passed was proof that she was not useless, not cursed, not nothing. Her teachers noticed quickly, this girl is special. By the end of her first year, Chioma was top of her class. The other girls asked her, how do you do it? How are you so smart? Chioma would just smile. I lost 3 years. I am just catching up. News of her success reached home. Papa was proud, boasting to his friends. My daughter is a genius. Mama Ngozi smiled when she heard. I knew it. I knew that girl had light inside her. But in Papa's house, Mama Uche heard the news with bitterness, eating her heart like acid. Meanwhile, her own children were struggling. Uche had finished secondary school but failed his final exams. He was now at home doing nothing. Nkechi had entered university with pride and big dreams, but university was not secondary school. It was harder. She began to fall behind. And then came the day that shamed Mama Uche completely. Nkechi came home from university one holiday, her stomach swollen with pregnancy. The boy responsible denied it and ran away. Mama Uche screamed and cried and tore her clothes. Neighbors whispered, the same woman who treated her stepdaughter like trash cannot control her own daughter. Shame covered Mama Uche like a heavy cloth. She could not even go to the market without people looking at her and whispering. And still, the news about Chioma kept coming. Chioma won first prize in a state mathematics competition. Chioma represented her school at a national debate. Chioma, Chioma, Chioma. The name that used to mean nothing now meant everything. 5 years passed like a dream. Chioma finished secondary school with the best results in her entire set. Her name was in newspapers. The state governor invited her to his office and gave her an award. Educational organizations fought to sponsor her university education. Papa traveled to the city for her graduation, and when he saw his daughter walk across the stage to receive her certificate as the overall best student, tears poured from his eyes like rivers. "This is my daughter," he shouted, not caring who heard. "This is Chioma, my daughter." Chioma gained admission to study medicine at the best university in the country. Full scholarship again, everything paid for. Mama Ngozi came to see her before she left. "My child, you have made me so proud. But more than that, you have proved something important. That wickedness cannot bury destiny. That darkness cannot stop light." Chioma hugged the old woman tightly. "Mama Ngozi, without you, I will still be hawking. You saved my life." Mama Ngozi shook her head. "No, my dear. I only opened the door. You are the one who walked through it." University was tough, but Chioma was tougher. She studied medicine with the same hunger she had studied everything else. She made friends. She joined clubs. She volunteered at free medical clinics in poor communities. Every time she saw a child hawking on the streets, her heart would squeeze with pain and memory. That was me. That could still be me. It pushed her to work harder, to be better, to become someone who could help others trapped in the same darkness she had escaped. In her third year, something incredible happened. Chioma won a national essay competition organized by a big telecommunications company. The prize was 1 million naira and a feature story in all the major newspapers and television stations. The essay was titled "From Hawking to Healing, My Story." In it, Chioma wrote about her mother's death, Mama Uche's cruelty, Mama Ngozi's kindness, and her journey to medical school. The story touched the whole nation. People cried reading it. People shared it. People called her an inspiration. Television stations invited her for interviews. She sat in studios wearing simple clothes, but speaking with a voice full of power, telling her story. The interviewer asked, "How did you survive? How did you not give up?" Chioma looked straight into the camera and said, "I survived because I refused to let anyone else write my story. My stepmother tried to write my ending, but God had already written my beginning. And my beginning said I was born to shine." The interview went viral. Millions of people watched it. Messages poured in from all over the country. Young girls who were suffering wrote to her, "Your story gave me hope. You made me believe I can make it too." Back in the village, the interview played on every television and phone. Neighbors gathered in clusters watching, shaking their heads in wonder. Is this not the same girl Mama Uche used to send hawking? See her now. See how she is speaking like a queen. See how the whole country is celebrating her. Mama Uche sat in her room, the door locked, her wrapper loose, her face swollen from crying. She had watched the interview alone, on her small phone, each word from Chioma's mouth landing on her like stones. When Chioma spoke about the hunger, the beatings, the wickedness, Mama Uche felt the eyes of the entire nation on her. Shame burned through her body like fire. She could not go outside anymore. Market women whispered when they saw her. Children pointed. Even her own friends avoided her. One woman said loudly enough for her to hear, "That is what happens when you are wicked to innocent children. God will disgrace you." Papa had moved to a different room in the house years ago. He barely spoke to Mama Uche anymore except when necessary. Uche had finally found a small job as a security guard. Nkechi was now a single mother struggling to take care of her child with no help from the boy who had impregnated her. The kingdom Mama Uche thought she was building had collapsed into dust. Meanwhile, Chioma's star kept rising higher and higher. She graduated from medical school with first-class honors. Again, she was the best in her entire set. Again, newspapers carried her story. Again, awards poured in. The state government offered her automatic employment. International organizations invited her for conferences. She became Dr. Chioma, the girl who refused to let her past define her future. But even with all the fame and success, Chioma remained humble. She remembered where she came from. She remembered the pain. The day of her final medical school graduation was bright and beautiful. The auditorium was packed with people. Professors, students, parents, government officials, journalists. Everyone wanted to be part of the story. Chioma wore her white coat and her graduation cap with pride. But the moment that broke her completely was when they announced the award for the overall best graduating student in the Faculty of Medicine goes to Dr. Chioma Okafor. The crowd exploded in applause that seemed to shake the very walls. Papa stood up, tears streaming down his face, clapping until his hands hurt. Mama Ngozi was there too, her old face shining with joy. As Chioma walked to the stage to receive her award, she looked up at the ceiling and whispered, "Mama, your daughter made it." She received a golden plaque, a certificate, and the microphone was handed to her for a speech. The room fell silent. Chioma looked at the sea of faces before her and began, "Today, I stand here not because I am special, but because someone believed in me when the world said I was nothing. My mother, who died too soon, told me to rise no matter what. A kind woman named Mama Ngozi gave me a chance when I had none. And my father, though late in realizing, finally chose me over lies." Her voice grew stronger. To every young girl out there who is suffering, who is being told you are worthless, who is being denied education, who is carrying trays on your head when you should be carrying books, hear me clearly. Your story is not over. The people trying to bury you do not know you are a seed. Keep pushing, keep believing. One day, you will bloom in a way that will shock everyone who ever doubted you. The applause was deafening. People stood to their feet. Some were crying. The video of that speech spread across the internet like wildfire, inspiring millions. After the ceremony, reporters surrounded Chioma, asking questions. "Dr. Chioma, there are reports that your stepmother is the one who maltreated you. Have you forgiven her? Will you help her now that you are successful?" Chioma paused. The question hung in the air, heavy and complicated. She thought about all the pain, all the nights she cried, all the hunger, all the insults. She thought about Mama Uche's face twisted with hatred. But she also thought about her mother's words. "You must rise no matter what happens." To rise truly means to rise above bitterness too. Chioma looked into the camera and said, "Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of anger. I have forgiven her, not because she deserves it, but because I deserve peace. However," she paused, "forgiveness does not mean I will have a relationship with her. Some people are only meant to be lessons, not blessings. I will not allow anyone who tried to destroy me back into my life to celebrate what they tried to kill." The reporters scribbled frantically. That statement too went viral. People debated it. Some said she was too harsh, others said she was wise. But Chioma did not care about the opinions. She had said her truth. That night, far away in the village, Mama Uche sat on her bed watching the interview on her phone for the third time. When Chioma said, I have forgiven her, but she cannot be part of my life. Something inside Mama Uche broke completely. She had hoped, foolishly, that maybe when Chioma became successful, she would forget everything and help her. That maybe money would make Chioma soft. But Chioma had drawn a line, a clear, unshakable line. Mama Uche realized with crushing finality that she had destroyed her own chance at redemption. The girl she had tried to kill with wickedness had become a woman she could never reach. Mama Uche collapsed on her bed and wept bitterly, not tears of repentance, but tears of regret. She regretted not because she had been wicked, but because her wickedness had backfired. She had wanted to push Chioma down so her own children could shine, but instead, she had pushed Chioma into greatness while her own children stumbled in darkness. The irony was sharp and painful. Uche heard his mother's cries from the other room, but he did not go to comfort her. He had lost respect for her long ago. Even he, her own son, could not look at her the same way anymore. Weeks later, Chioma started work at a big teaching hospital in the city. But work was not enough for her. She remembered Mama Ngozi's learning center. She remembered what it had done for her. So, she used part of her prize money to start a foundation called the Light Cannot Be Hidden Foundation. The foundation's mission was simple but powerful: to rescue children, especially girls, who were being denied education due to poverty or wicked guardians. She built a learning center, bigger and better than Mama Ngozi's, with classrooms, computers, and a library. She hired teachers. She provided uniforms, books, and food. She gave full scholarships to children who showed promise. Every Saturday, Chioma herself would visit the center and teach the children. She would tell them her story, not to make them pity her, but to make them believe in themselves. She would say, "I was once where you are, carrying heavy loads, treated like I was invisible. But look at me now. If I can rise, so can you." The children loved her. They called her Auntie Doctor. To them, she was proof that miracles were real. News of the foundation spread. People donated money. Volunteers came to help. Within 2 years, Chioma's foundation had helped over 200 children go back to school. Some of those children were hawkers. Some were housemates. Some were orphans. But all of them had one thing in common. They had been told they were nothing, and Chioma was showing them they were everything. Mama Ngozi, now very old and slow, would visit the center and sit in the corner watching with tears of joy. "This," she would say, "this is what I prayed for Chioma to take her pain and turn it into power." One Saturday afternoon, as Chioma was teaching a mathematics class at her foundation, a small girl walked in late. She was about 12 years old, her clothes torn and dirty, her hair rough. She carried a tray of oranges on her head. Chioma stopped teaching. The girl looked terrified. "Sorry, ma, I just wanted to ask if you can buy orange." The other children giggled, but Chioma raised her hand for silence. She walked slowly toward the girl, her heart beating fast because she was staring at herself from years ago. She was looking at her own past standing in front of her. "What is your name?" Chioma asked gently. "Adaeze, ma." "Why are you hawking Adaeze? Why are you not in school?" The girl's lips trembled. "My mother is dead. My father married another wife. She says there is no money for school. She sends me to hawk every day. If I don't sell everything, she will beat me." The words pierced Chioma's chest like arrows. She knelt down so she was eye level with the girl. "Adaeze, listen to me very carefully. Your story does not end here. Do you hear me? It does not end with this tray on your head." The girl nodded, confused but hopeful. Chioma stood up and called one of her staff members. "Take her details, her father's name, address, everything. We are going to visit that house." "Adaeze, from today, you will not hawk again. You will come to this center. You will learn. You will eat. You will become something great. Do you believe me?" The girl's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, ma," she whispered. I believe you. Chioma bought all the oranges on her tray and gave the girl extra money. Go home today. Tell your stepmother you sold everything, but tomorrow morning, do not go hawking. Come here instead. We will handle the rest. The girl thanked her over and over, her small voice shaking with emotion. As she left, Chioma stood at the door watching her walk away. The other children in the class were quiet. They had just witnessed something powerful, something real. One of the older students raised her hand. Auntie Doctor, why did you help her so fast? You don't even know her. Chioma turned to face the class, her eyes wet with tears. Because I was her. Many years ago, I stood exactly where she stood. I carried trays on my head. I was beaten and starved. I was told I was nothing, but someone helped me, and today I am helping her. That is how we break the cycle. That is how we change the story. We reach back and pull others up. The class was silent, absorbing the weight of her words. Some of the children were crying. They understood now why Auntie Doctor fought so hard for them. She was fighting for the girl she used to be. True to her word, Chioma sent her team to visit Adaeze's house. They met with her father and explained the foundation's program. The father, a quiet man who worked as a laborer, was shocked. He had no idea his new wife was treating his daughter so wickedly. Just like Papa, he had trusted the wrong person. He signed the papers immediately, giving Chioma's foundation permission to take care of Adaeze's education. When the stepmother found out, she raged and screamed, but it was too late. The papers were signed. Adaeze was saved. Within months, Adaeze transformed. Her hair was neat, her uniform was clean, her smile was wide. She was learning fast, just like Chioma had. Teachers said she was brilliant. Chioma watched her closely, mentoring her personally. Sometimes she would see Adaeze laughing with other children during break time, and her heart would swell with joy. This is why I went through everything. This is the purpose of my pain. To make sure another girl does not suffer the way I did. To make sure another light does not get buried in darkness. Years continued to pass, and Chioma's success grew even bigger. She became one of the most respected doctors in the country. She traveled internationally for conferences. She received awards from presidents and kings. Big organizations wanted to partner with her foundation. She built more learning centers in different states. She employed more teachers. She rescued more children. But even with all the fame and all the money, Chioma never forgot where she came from. She still visited Mama Ngozi every month, bringing her food and gifts. The old woman would hold Chioma's hands and say, "My daughter, you have done well. You have made your mother proud." One day, Mama Ngozi called Chioma and said, "I am old now. My time is coming. But before I go, I want to ask you something." Chioma's heart tightened with fear. "Mama Ngozi, don't talk like that. You will live long." The old woman smiled. "We all have our time, my child. Listen to me. When I am gone, I want you to take over this compound. Turn it into something bigger. Let it be a home for children who have nowhere to go. Let my house be a place where suffering children find hope, just like you found hope here." Chioma's tears fell freely. "I promise, Mama. I promise. I will do it." Mama Ngozi died peacefully in her sleep 6 months later. The whole village mourned her. Chioma cried for days. But even in her grief, she kept her promise. She bought the compound from Mama Ngozi's family and renovated it completely. She turned it into a children's home and named it Mama Ngozi Home of Hope. It became a place where orphans, abused children, and children from wicked homes could live safely. They were fed, clothed, educated, and loved. Chioma hired house parents, counselors, and teachers. She made sure every child felt valued and seen. The home became famous across the country as a place where broken children were mended. Meanwhile, back in Chioma's father's house, life had become unbearable for Mama Uche. She was now old, her body bent with age and bitterness. Uche had moved out to the city sending small money to his father but ignoring his mother. Nkechi was struggling as a single mother, her own child, giving her the same troubles she had given others. Papa, now retired, spent most of his time alone. He had forgiven Mama Uche because he was a Christian man, but the love was dead. They lived like strangers in the same house. Mama Uche's health began to fail. She developed high blood pressure and diabetes. The sickness drained her money and her strength. One evening, as she lay on her bed weak and in pain, she heard voices outside. The neighbors were talking loudly enough for her to hear. "Have you heard? Doctor, Chioma just built another children's home. That girl is doing wonders. She's like an angel sent from heaven. And to think Mama Uche treated her like trash. God is not asleep, oh. He disgraced that wicked woman proper." Mama Uche closed her eyes, fresh tears rolling down her wrinkled cheeks. She thought about everything. How she had turned Chioma's school forms, how she had denied her food, how she had called her cursed, how she had tried to bury her future. And now, that same girl was the most celebrated person from their entire village. That same girl's name was known across the nation. That same girl was saving lives, while her own children had amounted to nothing significant. The regret was so heavy, it felt like she was being crushed under a mountain. If only I had treated her well. If only I had loved her like my own. Maybe she would have loved me back. Maybe she would have taken care of me now in my old age. But it was too late. Far too late. One day, Papa received a call from Chioma. "Papa, I want to see you. Can you come to the city? My driver will pick you up." Papa's heart leaped with joy. "Of course, my daughter. I will come." When the driver arrived, Mama Uche watched from the window as Papa, dressed in his best clothes, and entered the big car. Her heart twisted with jealousy and regret. Chioma had sent for her father, but not for her. And why would she? What did she expect after everything she had done? The car drove away, leaving Mama Uche standing at the window, a ghost in her own house. Papa arrived at Chioma's home in the city and his jaw dropped. The house was beautiful, like something from a magazine. Big gates, a fountain, flowers everywhere. Chioma ran out to meet him, her smile bright. "Papa, welcome." She hugged him tightly and led him inside. The house was filled with beautiful furniture, air conditioning, and pictures of Chioma receiving awards. Papa sat down, looking around in wonder. "My daughter, look at what God has done. Look at how far you have come." Chioma sat beside him. "Papa, all of this means nothing without saying thank you to you. You believed me when it mattered. You signed those papers. You gave me a chance. I will never forget that." Papa's eyes filled with tears. "I am just sorry I did not see the truth earlier. I am sorry you suffered for so long." Chioma held his hand. "It is forgiven, Papa. You are here now. That is what matters." She served him food, the best food he had eaten in years. After eating, she took him to a room and showed him a large envelope. "Papa, inside here are documents. I have built you a house in the village, a proper house with everything you need. The papers are in your name. It is my gift to you." Papa broke down crying. He could not believe it. His daughter, the one he had almost lost, had built him a house. But that was not all. Chioma continued. "Also, from today, I will be sending you money every month. You will never struggle again. You are my father, and I will take care of you for the rest of your life." Papa knelt down in front of Chioma. "My daughter, may God bless you beyond measure. You have wiped away my shame. You have restored my honor." Chioma lifted him up gently. "Papa, please stand. You are my father. You don't kneel for me." That day, father and daughter talked for hours, healing old wounds, building new memories. When it was time for Papa to leave, he hugged Chioma tightly and whispered, "Your mother is smiling in heaven. I know she is." When Papa returned to the village, The news spread like fire. Dr. Chioma built her father a house, a big, beautiful house. People went to see it with their own eyes. It was true. A mansion stood where Papa's old house used to be. 3 bedrooms, modern kitchen, tiled floors, everything. Neighbors crowded around congratulating Papa. You are blessed, oh. Your daughter has really honored you. Papa smiled, his chest swelling with pride. Yes, my Chioma has done well. But inside the house, in her small room, Mama Uche heard everything. She heard the praises, she heard Papa's laughter, and something inside her finally broke completely. That night, Mama Uche could not sleep. Her mind kept replaying everything. She got up and went to Papa's room. She knocked softly. Papa, can I talk to you? Papa opened the door, his face neutral. What is it? She swallowed her pride, something she had never done before. Papa, I know I have done terrible things. I know I treated Chioma wickedly. I know I lied to you. I am sorry. Now that she has built you a house, I was wondering if maybe you could ask her to help me too. Just small money for my medication. I am sick and I have no money. Papa looked at her for a long moment. His face was sad, not angry. Mama Uche, do you even hear yourself? You tortured that girl for years. You called her cursed. You destroyed her school papers. You made her hawk in the sun while your own children slept. And now that she is successful, you want her money? Mama Uche's lips trembled. I said I am sorry. What more do you want? Papa shook his head slowly. Sorry is just a word. You are not sorry for what you did. You are sorry that it did not work in your favor. You are sorry that the girl you tried to bury became a queen. That is not repentance. That is regret. And there is a difference. He continued, his voice firm. Chioma told me clearly. She has forgiven you, but she will never have a relationship with you. And I agree with her. You do not deserve access to her life. You do not deserve to enjoy the fruit of a tree you tried to cut down. I will not ask her for anything on your behalf. If you need help, ask your own children, the ones you raised, the ones you poured everything into. Let them take care of you now. With that, Papa closed the door, leaving Mama Uche standing in the corridor, her mouth open, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She stumbled back to her room and collapsed on the bed. For the first time in her life, Mama Uche truly understood what she had done. She had planted wickedness, and now she was harvesting shame. She had sown cruelty, and now she was reaping loneliness. Her children could not help her. Uche barely had enough for himself. Nkechi was drowning in her own struggles. Papa had turned his back on her. And Chioma, the one person who had the power to change her situation, had locked the door forever. Mama Uche lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and for the first time, she felt the full weight of her choices crushing her chest. Years passed. Chioma's foundation grew bigger and bigger. She rescued hundreds of children. She built schools. She built hospitals. She became a voice for the voiceless. The government honored her with national awards. International organizations gave her global recognition. Universities invited her to speak. Young girls across Africa looked up to her as a role model. Dr. Chioma Okafor became a household name, a symbol of resilience, a proof that no darkness is strong enough to kill a destined light. And through it all, Chioma remained humble, kind, and focused. She never let fame change her. She never forgot where she came from. One special day, 10 years after her graduation, Chioma returned to Mama Ngozi Home of Hope for an anniversary celebration. Hundreds of children filled the compound singing and dancing. Former students who had passed through the home came back to testify. One girl stood up and said, I was a housemaid. They beat me every day, but this home rescued me. Now I am in the university studying engineering. Another boy said, I was on the streets. I had no parents, no hope, but this place gave me a future. Now I am a teacher, helping other children. Story after story, testimony after testimony. Chioma stood listening. tears streaming down her face. When it was her turn to speak, she walked to the front and looked at the sea of faces before her. All the children she had helped, all the lives she had changed. She took a deep breath and said, "Many years ago, I was you. I was the girl everyone said would amount to nothing. I was the girl carrying trays under the hot sun. I was the girl whose own stepmother called cursed. But one person believed in me. Mama Ngozi, may her soul rest in peace. She saw light in me when everyone else saw trash. And today, I am standing here not just for myself, but for every child who has ever been told they are worthless. I am here to tell you that you are not what they call you. You are what God created you to be." Her voice grew stronger, filling the compound. To every girl being maltreated by a wicked stepmother, to every boy sleeping hungry because someone is wicked to you, to every child whose education has been stolen, hear me clearly. Write this in your heart. Your suffering is not your identity. It is only your season. Seasons change. Pain does not last forever. Keep believing, keep fighting, keep pushing. One day, the same people who laughed at you will hear your name and tremble. One day, you will rise so high that your story will give hope to millions. I am living proof. If I can rise from hawking to healing, you can rise from your situation to your celebration. The crowd erupted in applause. Children jumped to their feet, clapping and shouting. Adults wiped tears from their eyes. The whole compound shook with the sound of hope being planted, watered, and growing. Chioma looked up at the sky and whispered, "Mama, Mama Ngozi, this is for you. This is your legacy." As the celebration continued with music and dancing, a photographer captured the moment. The picture of Dr. Chioma, surrounded by hundreds of smiling children, went viral across social media. The caption read, "From hawking to healing." This is what happens when you refuse to let wickedness define your destiny. That night, back in the village, someone showed the picture to Mama Uche on their phone. "Look at Dr. Chioma. See how she is celebrating with all those children. That woman is a living saint." Mama Uche stared at the picture, her old eyes struggling to see clearly. But she saw enough. She saw Chioma's smile. She saw the joy. She saw the success. She saw everything she had tried to prevent but failed to stop. Her hand shook as she gave the phone back. Her chest felt tight. She shuffled slowly back to her room, her body heavy with the weight of a wasted life. She lay on her bed and closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw young Chioma standing in front of her eyes, full of tears, begging for food. She saw herself tearing up school forms. She heard her own voice shouting, "You will never be anything." And now, that same girl was everything. Mama Uche whispered into the darkness, her voice broken and weak. "I destroyed myself. I fought against destiny and destiny won." She turned her face to the wall and wept bitterly, the kind of weeping that comes when you realize too late that you wasted your chance to be part of something beautiful. Meanwhile, Chioma's story continued to spread across the world. A famous international television network contacted her for a documentary. They wanted to film her life story, from hawking to becoming a celebrated doctor. Chioma agreed, but only on one condition: that the documentary would also show the children in her foundation, that it would raise awareness and funding for more children to be rescued. The network agreed. They came to Nigeria with their cameras and crew. They interviewed Chioma, Papa, Mama Ngozi's relatives, former classmates, teachers, and the children in her foundation. They even tried to interview Mama Uche. When the crew arrived at Papa's house, Mama Uche refused to come out of her room. She locked herself inside, too ashamed to face the cameras. The producer knocked on her door. "Madam, we just want to hear your side of the story, your perspective." But Mama Uche shouted from inside, "Go away, leave me alone. I have nothing to say." They left without her voice, but her silence spoke louder than words. When the documentary finally aired on international television, millions of people around the world watched Chioma's story. People from America, Europe, Asia, Africa, everywhere were moved to tears. The documentary ended with Chioma standing in front of Mama Ngozi Home of Hope, the sun setting behind her, children playing in the background. She looked directly into the camera and said, "If you are watching this and you are going through hell, hold on. Your story is not over. The world tried to write my ending, but God had the final pen. And He will have the final pen in your story too. Do not give up. Your breakthrough is coming." After the documentary aired, donations poured into Chioma's foundation from all over the world. People wanted to be part of the mission. Within 1 year, she was able to open 10 more learning centers across Nigeria. More children were rescued. More lives were changed. The impact was massive, unstoppable, undeniable. But back in the village, Mama Uche's health got worse. The high blood pressure and diabetes were eating her body slowly. She could barely walk anymore. Papa hired a housemaid to take care of her because he refused to do it himself. Uche would visit once in a while and give her small money, but even he was tired of her complaints. Nkechi rarely came home, drowning in her own struggles. Mama Uche spent her days lying in bed, alone with her thoughts, her regrets, and her bitterness. She had become exactly what she once called Chioma: nothing, worthless, forgotten. One evening, the housemaid was helping her take her medication when Mama Uche suddenly asked, "That girl, Chioma, does she ever ask about me?" The housemaid looked confused. "Madam, why would she ask about you after what you did to her?" Mama Uche's face crumpled. "So it is true. She has completely forgotten I exist." The housemaid shook her head. "No, madam. She has not forgotten. How can someone forget the person who almost destroyed them? But she has moved on. She has built a life so big and so beautiful that you are just a small painful memory in her past. Nothing more." The words stung like acid, but they were true. Mama Uche turned her face to the wall and said nothing. Later that night, alone in the dark, she whispered to herself, "If I could go back, if I could do it all again, I would treat her like my own daughter. I would send her to school. I would love her. Maybe then she would love me too. Maybe then I would not be dying alone like this, forgotten and despised." But it is too late now. Too late. Her tears soaked the pillow as sleep finally took her into dreams filled with regrets. Far away in the city, Chioma had no idea Mama Uche was thinking about her. And even if she knew, it would not change anything. Chioma had closed that chapter of her life completely. She had forgiven, yes, but forgiveness did not mean reopening old wounds. She was too busy building, too busy healing, too busy rescuing others to look back at the woman who tried to destroy her. Chioma's focus was forward, always forward. She had learned that you cannot pour into broken vessels. Some people are meant to be left behind so you can move ahead. Chioma got engaged to a wonderful man, Dr. Chukwudi, a fellow doctor who loved and respected her deeply. He had heard her story long before they met and admired her strength. Their wedding was the talk of the nation. Celebrities attended. Government officials attended. The children from her foundation were special guests, dressed beautifully, singing and dancing. It was a celebration of love, but also a celebration of victory. The girl who once had nothing now had everything, not because she was lucky, but because she refused to quit. Because she turned her pain into power. Because she believed in herself when no one else did. At the wedding reception, Papa stood up to make a speech. His voice shook with emotion. "Today, I am not just a father giving away his daughter. I am a man who almost lost a treasure because I was blind. Chioma, my daughter, you have taught me that destiny cannot be stopped by human wickedness. You have shown the world that gold does not stay buried forever. I am proud of you. Your mother is proud of you. And I pray that your children will rise even higher than you." The guests clapped and cheered. Chioma hugged her father tightly, both of them crying happy tears. When it was Chioma's turn to speak, she stood with her husband by her side and said, I want to use this moment to say something important. My story is not just about me. It is about every child suffering in silence right now, every girl being maltreated, every boy being denied his future. I want you to know that I see you, God sees you, and your story will change. It must change because light always defeats darkness. She raised her glass. To everyone who has ever been told they are nothing, this toast is for you. You are something, you are everything, and your time is coming. The hall erupted in applause. People stood to their feet, clapping and shouting amen. It was a moment of collective healing, of hope being declared over broken lives everywhere. As Chioma and her husband danced their first dance, the cameras captured every beautiful moment. The pictures and videos flooded social media, and again, people could not stop talking about Dr. Chioma Okafor, the woman whose life was a testimony of grace, resilience, and divine destiny. One comment read, "This is what happens when you refuse to let your past poison your future." Another read, "From hawking pure water to marrying a king, God is real." Back in the village, someone showed Mama Uche pictures of the wedding on their phone. The person did not know the history between them. They just wanted to show off the beautiful ceremony. Look at Dr. Chioma's wedding. It was like a movie. See how she is glowing. Mama Uche's hands trembled as she looked at the pictures. Chioma in her wedding gown, smiling like the sun. Chioma dancing with her husband. Chioma surrounded by children from her foundation. Every picture was a dagger to Mama Uche's heart. She gave the phone back quickly and said, "I am tired. I want to sleep." That night, Mama Uche could not sleep. The images of Chioma's joy tormented her. She thought about what could have been if she had loved Chioma. Maybe she would have been at that wedding. Maybe Chioma would have honored her as a mother. Maybe her own life would not be so empty and bitter. But she had chosen wickedness. She had chosen cruelty. And now she was reaping the full harvest of her choices. The regret was so heavy, it felt like she was suffocating. She cried until her body had no more tears left to give. Months passed and Chioma's life continued to flourish. She and her husband were blessed with a beautiful baby girl. They named her Ngozi, after Mama Ngozi, the woman who had changed Chioma's life forever. The dedication ceremony was filled with joy and gratitude. Chioma held baby Ngozi in her arms and made a vow. "My daughter, you will grow up knowing your mother's story. Not so you can be bitter, but so you can be grateful. So you can know that no matter how dark life gets, light always finds a way. You are a product of grace, resilience, and destiny. And you will carry that legacy forward." Meanwhile, Adaeze, the little girl Chioma had rescued years ago from hawking, was now in secondary school, excelling in her studies. She wanted to become a doctor just like Auntie Chioma. Whenever people asked her why, she would say, "Because Auntie Chioma saved my life. Now I want to save other people's lives too." Chioma would visit the school sometimes and Adaeze would run to her with so much joy. "Auntie Doctor, I came first in my class again." Chioma would hug her tightly. "I am proud of you, my dear. Keep going. You are going far." Chioma's foundation continued to expand. By the 10th year, they had rescued over 1,000 children. Hundreds of them had gone to university. Some had become doctors, engineers, teachers, lawyers. All of them attributed their success to Chioma's intervention. The foundation became a model for child welfare across Africa. Other organizations wanted to learn from it. Governments wanted to partner with it. Chioma's name became synonymous with hope, transformation, and second chances. She was living proof that one person's kindness can change the trajectory of many lives. One day, Chioma received a letter. It was from Uche, her stepbrother. The letter was simple and honest. "Sister Chioma, I know I do not deserve your time or attention, but I am writing to say thank you. Thank you for not becoming bitter like my mother. Thank you for forgiving Papa. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. My mother is very sick now. I do not expect you to care or help. I am only writing to say that I am sorry for every time I stayed silent when I should have defended you. I was a coward, but watching you rise has taught me to be a better man. I am trying to raise my own children differently, with love, not wickedness. May God continue to bless you. Chioma read the letter and tears filled her eyes. Not tears of pain, but tears of closure. She folded the letter carefully and kept it. She did not reply, but she forgave Uche in her heart. Some apologies do not need responses. They just need to be received and released. Chioma understood that she was no longer carrying the weight of bitterness. She had put it down years ago and walked away free. And that freedom showed in every area of her life, in her smile, in her peace, in her success, in her ability to love deeply without fear. Years continued to roll by. Chioma's story was now being taught in schools as part of motivational curricula. Children across Nigeria read about her in their textbooks. Teachers used her life as an example of resilience. Parents told their children, if you ever feel like giving up, remember Dr. Chioma. Remember what she went through and how she still made it. The story had become bigger than Chioma herself. It had become a movement, a message, a mirror showing people that their current situation is not their final destination. Then one day, Chioma received an unexpected call. It was from a nurse at the village clinic. Dr. Chioma, I am calling about a patient here, Mama Uche. She is very ill. She has been asking for you. Chioma's heart skipped. She had not heard that name in years. She had successfully moved on, but now the past was calling. The nurse continued, she may not have much time left. She keeps saying your name. I know there is history, but I thought you should know. Chioma thanked the nurse and ended the call. She sat in silence for a long time, thinking. Her husband came and sat beside her. What is it, my love? She told him. He held her hand. What do you want to do? It is your decision. I will support you either way. Chioma thought about her mother's words from many years ago. You must rise no matter what happens. To rise truly means to rise above everything, even the final moments of your enemies. Chioma took a deep breath. I will go. Not because she deserves it, but because I deserve complete closure. I will go and make peace with that chapter once and for all. The next day, Chioma drove to the village with her husband. The news spread quickly. Dr. Chioma is in the village. People lined the streets just to see her car pass. When she arrived at the clinic, the nurses welcomed her with reverence. Dr. Chioma, thank you for coming. They led her to a small room at the end of the hall. Inside, on a small bed, lay Mama Uche. She was a shadow of the woman Chioma remembered. Thin, frail, her hair completely grey, her face sunken. The years and the sickness had reduced her to almost nothing. When Mama Uche saw Chioma walk through the door, her eyes widened. Tears immediately began to roll down her wrinkled cheeks. Chioma, she whispered, her voice weak and broken. You came. You really came. Chioma stood at the foot of the bed, her face calm but guarded. Her husband stood by the door, watching. Chioma spoke quietly. I heard you were asking for me. I am here. What do you want to say? Mama Uche's lips trembled. She struggled to sit up but could not. The nurse helped her adjust the pillows behind her back. Mama Uche looked at Chioma with eyes full of regret. Chioma, I do not deserve your presence. I do not deserve even a minute of your time. But I am dying. And before I go, I need to say this. I am sorry. I am so sorry for everything. For the hunger, for the beatings, for stopping you from going to school, for calling you cursed, for trying to destroy your life. I was wicked. I was jealous. I was evil. And I have paid for it every single day. My children have suffered. My life has been miserable. I have been disgraced. And now I am dying alone with nothing but regrets. Please forgive me. Please. I am begging you." She stretched out her bony hand toward Chioma, trembling and weak. Chioma looked at the hand but did not take it immediately. She took a deep breath, letting the moment settle. Then she spoke, her voice steady and strong. "Mama Uche, I forgave you years ago, not because you asked, but because I needed to be free. Forgiveness is not about you. It was about me releasing the poison of bitterness so I could heal and grow. You tried to bury me, but you did not know I was a seed. You tried to kill my destiny, but destiny does not die. It only delays until the right time." She continued, "I am not here to celebrate your suffering. I do not take joy in seeing you like this. But I am also not here to pretend that what you did was okay. You stole years from my life. You caused pain that took years to heal. However, I have moved on. I have built a life so full and so beautiful that you are only a painful memory now, nothing more. I forgive you because my God forgave me. But forgiveness does not mean I will cry for you. It does not mean I will take care of you. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. You made your choices. Now you must face them." Mama Uche wept bitterly, her frail body shaking with sobs. "I understand," she whispered. "I understand. I just wanted to hear you say you forgive me. Now I can die in peace." Chioma's husband stepped forward. "My wife is a queen. She did not have to come here, but she did because she has a heart of gold. You should thank God for that." Chioma turned to leave, but at the door, she paused and looked back. "Mama Uche, I hope in your final days you find peace. I hope you make peace with God. Goodbye." And with that, Chioma walked out, her husband beside her. Outside the clinic, villagers had gathered. They clapped as Chioma emerged. "Dr. Chioma, you are a good woman. You have a golden heart. Even after everything, you still came." Chioma smiled gently. "I came for my own closure, not for her. We must all be careful how we treat people. Life is like a circle. What you give, you will receive. Treat people with love, kindness, and respect. Because one day, the child you maltreat may become the adult whose mercy you need. But that mercy is not guaranteed. Choose love while you still can." The crowd nodded, murmuring amens and wise words. Chioma entered her car and drove away, leaving the village behind once again. As they drove, her husband asked, "How do you feel?" Chioma thought for a moment. "Free," she said simply. "Completely free. That chapter is finally closed." She opened the window, letting the breeze blow through her hair, a small smile on her face. She had faced her past, spoken her truth, and walked away with her head high and her heart light. 3 days later, Mama Uche passed away quietly in her sleep. The news reached Chioma through Uche. She received it with a nod but no tears. She had already mourned the death of that relationship years ago. She sent a small amount of money to help with the burial, not out of obligation, but out of human decency. At the burial, the village gathered. Papa was there, quiet and solemn. Uche and Nkechi were there, weeping for their mother. The pastor preached about reaping and sowing, and though he did not mention names, everyone knew exactly what he meant. After the burial, life continued. The world moved on, and Chioma, Dr. Chioma Okafor, continued to shine brighter and brighter, touching lives, rescuing children, building legacies. Her story became a permanent reminder that wickedness cannot stop destiny, that light always defeats darkness, that pain, when transformed, becomes power, that the same hands that once carried trays of Milo under the sun can hold degrees, awards, and babies, that the same girl once called worthless can become priceless. If this story has touched your heart, I remember this. Your current struggle is not your final story. The people trying to bury you do not know that you are a seed. Seeds buried in darkness do not die. They grow. They break through the soil. They become trees that provide shade for generations. Right now, someone somewhere is going through exactly what Chioma went through. A wicked stepmother is denying you food. A guardian is stopping you from going to school. Someone is calling you useless, worthless, cursed. But hear me clearly. Write this on your hearts. They are wrong. You are not what they call you. You are what God created you to be. Chioma's story teaches us powerful lessons that we must never forget. First, never underestimate anyone. The child you maltreat today may become the adult whose help you desperately need tomorrow. Mama Uche thought Chioma would remain under her foot forever. She thought hawking would be Chioma's destiny. But she forgot that destiny is not determined by wicked people. It is determined by God. And when God says yes, nobody can say no. Second, one person's kindness can change everything. If Mama Ngozi had walked past Chioma that day under the mango tree, this story would have been different. Your small act of kindness today might be the seed that grows into someone's miracle tomorrow. Third, forgiveness is powerful, but it does not mean foolishness. Chioma forgave Mama Uche, yes, but she did not allow her back into her life. She did not pretend that the pain never happened. She did not reward wickedness with access. Forgiveness means you release the bitterness so you can be free. It does not mean you must trust again or open your door to those who try to destroy you. You can forgive someone and still keep them at a distance. That is wisdom, not wickedness. Protect your peace. Protect your progress. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, especially those who try to poison your food. Fourth, your past does not define your future unless you let it. Chioma could have remained bitter. She could have used her pain as an excuse to fail. She could have believed Mama Uche's words that she was cursed. But instead, she used her pain as fuel. She turned her scars into stars. She transformed her mess into a message. Every time life knocked her down, she got back up. Every time someone said she could not, she proved she could. That is the spirit of a champion. That is the mindset of a winner. When life gives you darkness, create your own light. Fifth, education is powerful. It is the key that opens doors nobody can close. Mama Uche tried to deny Chioma education because she knew educated people cannot be controlled. Knowledge gives you power. Skills give you options. Learning gives you freedom. If you are young and watching this, fight for your education. Do not let anyone stop you from going to school. Read books. Ask questions. Learn everything you can. Education does not guarantee success, but it increases your chances significantly. And even if formal school is not possible, teach yourself. The world is full of free knowledge. Use it. Grow yourself. Invest in your mind. Sixth, children are watching. Mama Uche's own children saw how she treated Chioma. And what happened? They grew up without values, without discipline, without direction. Uche became aimless. Nkechi got pregnant and was abandoned. Meanwhile, Chioma, who suffered the most, became the most successful. Why? Because suffering with purpose builds character. Privilege without discipline builds entitlement. Parents, guardians, listen carefully. How you treat children matters. The way you speak to them shapes their future. The love or hatred you show them determines what they become. Be careful. You are raising the next generation. Raise them with love, wisdom, and justice. Seventh, God sees everything. Mama Uche thought she was getting away with her wickedness. She thought because Papa was always traveling and nobody was stopping her, that she had won. But God was watching. He was keeping records. He was preparing Chioma's vindication. The Bible says it clearly. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Mama Uche sowed wickedness and reaped shame. Chioma sowed perseverance and reaped glory. What are you sowing today? Be careful, because harvest is coming. You cannot plant thorns and expect roses. You cannot plant cruelty and expect peace. Eighth, Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. When Chioma was hawking in the hot sun, she had no idea that the old woman buying groundnut from her would change her life. When she was crying on the veranda after Mama Uche beat her, she had no idea that in a few years she would own houses bigger than the one she was locked out of. Your breakthrough does not announce itself. It comes quietly, often disguised as a small opportunity. That person who smiled at you, that stranger who offered help, that door that opened unexpectedly. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not give up because you cannot see the full picture yet. Keep walking, keep believing. Your mango tree moment is coming. Ninth, success is the best revenge. Chioma did not need to fight Mama Uche physically. She did not need to curse her or poison her. She simply lived well. She succeeded loudly. She became so great that her success became Mama Uche's punishment. That is the power of living well. When people try to pull you down, do not waste time fighting them in the mud. Rise above them. Succeed so well that they cannot ignore you. Build a life so beautiful that they choke on their own bitterness. Let your success speak for you. Let your achievements silence your critics. Let your results shock your doubters. That is the sweetest victory. 10th, legacy matters more than temporary pleasure. Mama Uche enjoyed maltreating Chioma. It gave her wicked pleasure to see Chioma suffer, but that pleasure was temporary. Now her legacy is wickedness. When people mention her name, they remember her as the wicked stepmother who tried to destroy a brilliant girl. But Mama Ngozi's legacy is love. Chioma's legacy is transformation. What will people say when your name is mentioned? What will your children and grandchildren inherit from you? Will they inherit love and wisdom, or bitterness and shame? Think about it. Live in a way that makes your name a blessing, not a curse. Today, Dr. Chioma Okafor's foundation continues to operate across Nigeria. Thousands of children have passed through her programs. Many of them are now doctors, engineers, teachers, lawyers, and business owners. They all carry one message: if Auntie Chioma can make it, so can we. Her story has been featured in books, documentaries, and international conferences. She has received honorary doctorate degrees from universities around the world. She sits on boards of major organizations. She advises government on child welfare policies. She is a voice that cannot be ignored, and yet she remains humble, grounded, and focused on her mission to rescue children from wicked hands. But the most beautiful part of Chioma's story is not the awards or the fame. It is the lives she has changed. It is Adaeze, who was rescued from hawking and is now in medical school following Chioma's footsteps. It is the hundreds of children sleeping peacefully tonight in Mama Ngozi Home of Hope, knowing they are safe, loved, and valued. It is the single mothers whose children Chioma has sponsored through school. It is the communities where she has built hospitals and schools. That is the real success. Not what you have, but what you give. Not how high you rise, but how many people you lift as you climb. And so, as we end the story, let it not just be a story you heard and forgot. Let it be a seed planted in your heart. If you are going through hell right now, if someone is maltreating you, if life has knocked you down, remember Chioma. Remember that the same God who lifted her can lift you. Remember that your current address is not your final destination. Remember that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hold on. Keep fighting. Keep believing. Your story is not over. The best chapters are still ahead. The world has not seen the best of you yet. To every stepmother, stepfather, guardian, or parent watching this, treat every child like they matter, because they do. That child you are maltreating might be the one who becomes greater than you ever imagined. That child you are denying food might be the one who feeds nations. That child you are calling useless might be the one who changes the world. You do not know who they will become, so treat them with love, fairness, and respect. Not because they might become successful, but because it is simply the right thing to do. Because every child deserves love, every child deserves education, every child deserves a chance. To every young person watching, your life is like a book. Right now, you might be in the painful chapters, the chapters filled with tears, rejection, and suffering. But do not close the book. Keep reading, keep writing, keep pushing forward because the best chapters are coming. The chapters where you graduate, where you succeed, where you build your own house, where you rescue others, where you become the answer to someone else's prayer, where you stand on stages and people clap for you, where your name is mentioned with honor. Those chapters are coming. Do not give up before you get there. And finally, to everyone watching this, share this story. Share it with someone who is losing hope. Share it with a young girl being maltreated. Share it with someone carrying heavy loads when they should be carrying books. Share it with someone who needs to know that their struggle is not their identity. Be the Mama Ngozi in someone's life. Be the person who sees light in someone everyone else has called darkness. Be the person who gives a chance to someone everyone else has rejected. Be the person who believes in someone when the whole world has given up on them. You might be the only hope they have. If this story touched your heart, if it made you cry, if it gave you hope, if it reminded you that God is still in the business of turning messes into miracles, then let me hear you say amen. Type it in the comments. Share your own story. Tell us how you overcame. Tell us who helped you. Tell us what you learned. Let your testimony encourage someone else. Because we rise by lifting others. We heal by helping others. We succeed by supporting others. This is not just Chioma's story. This is our story. The story of everyone who has ever been counted out but refused to stay down. The story of everyone who has ever been called nothing but became something. The story of destiny defeating darkness. Chioma once stood with a tray on her head, tears in her eyes, wondering if life would ever get better. Today, she stands with a stethoscope around her neck, a smile on her face, and thousands of lives transformed by her hands. If she can do it, you can do it too. If she can rise, you can rise too. If she can shine, you can shine too. The same God who was with her is with you. The same grace that lifted her can lift you. The same destiny that preserved her will preserve you. Do not give up. Do not quit. Do not let wicked people write your story. Take back your pen. Write your own ending and make it so beautiful that generations will tell it. This is the story of Chioma, the girl who was sent hawking every day, not knowing she was building the strength, the character, and the testimony that would one day inspire millions. Not knowing that every step she took in the hot sun was a step toward her destiny. Not knowing that every tear she cried was watering the seed of her future. Not knowing that the very thing meant to destroy her was actually preparing her for greatness. Mama Uche sent her hawking to punish her, but God used it to position her, to teach her resilience, to build her humility, to prepare her for the weight of success she would carry. So when life sends you through fire, remember, fire does not destroy gold, it purifies it. When life sends you through storms, remember, storms do not destroy trees with deep roots. They only make them stronger. When life sends you through darkness, remember, it is in the darkest nights that stars shine brightest. You are that star, you are that gold, you are that tree. And your time to shine is coming. It is already on its way. Do not stop now. The breakthrough you have been praying for, the opportunity you have been waiting for, the vindication you have been crying for, it is coming. Just hold on a little longer. Chioma's story proves that God specializes in impossible situations. He takes the rejected stone and makes it the cornerstone. He takes the forgotten child and makes her a celebrated queen. He takes the hawker and makes her a healer. He takes the victim and makes her a victor. He takes the broken and makes them beautiful. That is what he does. That is who he is. And if he did it for Chioma, he will do it for you. Not because you are perfect, but because he is faithful. Not because you deserve it, but because he is gracious. Not because you are strong, but because he is mighty. So lift up your head, wipe away your tears, straighten your crown. You are royalty going through a rough season. You are a diamond going through the cutting process. You are a masterpiece still being painted. You are a seed buried in darkness, but your time to break through the soil and reach for the sun is coming. And when you finally rise, when you finally bloom, when you finally shine, everyone who doubted you, everyone who mocked you, everyone who said you would never make it, they will all stand back in shock and wonder. And you will smile, not with pride, but with gratitude, because you know it was not your power, it was God's grace. This is the end of Chioma's story, but it is not the end of yours. Your story is still being written. And I pray that it will be even more powerful, even more beautiful, even more inspiring than this one. I pray that one day someone will tell your story to encourage others. I pray that your pain will turn into purpose. I pray that your scars will turn into stars. I pray that your mess will turn into a message. I pray that your test will turn into a testimony. And I pray that your struggle will turn into strength. Now, go out there and live. Fight for your dreams. Believe in your future. Trust in your God. And never, ever, ever give up. Because quitters never win and winners never quit. You are a winner. You are an overcomer. You are destined for greatness. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God has ordained for your life. Not poverty, not wickedness, not hatred, not rejection, nothing. Your time is coming. Your season is changing. Your breakthrough is near. Receive it, believe it, walk in it. If you enjoyed this story and it blessed your life, please do not forget to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring, life-changing stories like this one. Drop a comment below telling us what you learned from Chioma's story. Tell us your own story of overcoming. Encourage someone else who might be reading. Let us build a community of hope, faith, and victory, because together we rise, together we win, together we shine. God bless you. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, your hawking season is temporary, but your healing season is permanent. You are going from glory to glory, from strength to strength, from victory to victory. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. Your best days are ahead of you. Now go and claim them. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Remember, the girl they tried to bury did not know she was a seed, and seeds always rise, always.